What's up, former party people? This is Jerry, the one who actually combs his hair on the A is for Alcoholic podcast. Now, if you're finding value in listening to the AIFA podcast every week and you want to support sharing it with others, we invite you to become a sustaining monthly or per show contributor. Go to patreon.com/AIFA. It's super easy and it only takes a quick moment. It's about as easy as buying one of those pre-cooked space chickens from the grocery store, taking it outside, giving it a big old kiss, and kicking it into traffic. Why would you do that? Anyway, you do you, and I'll do me. Again, go to patreon.com/AIFA. And with that, people, let's start the show.
A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time. You wear a lot of t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
You do? You like wearing
I do.
t-shirts?
I like them. They're like long sleeve shirts, but they don't have sleeves. The sleeves are shorter than a normal long sleeve shirt.
What do you like
Less
about
buttons.
a t-shirt?
Less buttons.
Less buttons?
Also, I love t-shirts that have like a cool image or some type of trademark or branding that my friend's company, of my friend's company. Those are cool.
Yeah. So speaking of which, the presenting
Yeah.
sponsor of A is for Alcoholic is Green Camel Press.
Word.
What is Green Camel Press? Well, we are a collective of artists, and that collective is two of us currently, and we make greeting cards. We do labels. We do all kinds of stuff. We do drawings. We do digital doodles. What are digital doodles? Well,
What are they?
we take time lapse video of drawings, and we chop them all up. We add some music, some effects, do some fun little stuff, tell stories with the doodles. We do stop motion animation. We make T-shirts as well. And you were recently just gifted a Green Camel Press T-shirt, were you not?
Absolutely.
And
and I gotta tell you, folks, this shirt is super comfortable. It's like wearing a jersey pillowcase. It's beautiful, and the color's great. It's like this minty green color, and you know what? It's really funny because I actually sincerely like the way it fits. It fits good. It's like when you get a lot of smaller medium shirts, they get really short and they're real boxy, and this one like fits my torso well, and it's long enough that I'm not like showing off my belt. And the other night, and this is a true fucking story, I had it on 2 nights ago, and Megan's like, "You look strong. You look a lot stronger than you normally do. You look pretty good." So I feel like if you buy these shirts, the person who you're attracted to will become more attracted to you, and that's a promise from me.
There you go.
From me personally, that the person you're trying to get with just may get with
you.
Maybe I don't know.
So there it is.
But it does. I love that shirt, actually. It's one of my favorites now.
That's good. That's good. So go to greencamelpress.com and get yourself a shirt that's going to make you strong and attractive.
Strong and
Made
attractive.
Jerry strong and attractive.
Right. And it's not a weird green. It's a good green. It's like a mellow, like
got sort
calm
of
day green.
Yeah. So, well, I think the color was called candy apple or candy apple green, but it's more minty.
Yeah, because candy apple's way too bright and like too jarring. This is more calm and like, I don't know, just feels like a warm day.
Strength.
In the reeds.
Strength.
Just out in the grass. Strong and warm.
Strong and warm.
Fits good.
And no midriff, no belt.
No midriff, and I'm not so thin that I'm blasting my nips. I'm doing great, dude. I love it.
Go get yourself a T-shirt, greencamelpress.com. We're also brought to you by Gluten is Not Your Problem. Have you heard this podcast?
Yes, I have. I know Walter very well.
So this is a podcast I do with another one of our friends, Walter. And Walter has not only a vast array of culinary experience, but and when I say Renaissance man, he really is. He's done topiary. He's done interior design. He has... Did he wrangle dogs or pigs that one trip? In Arizona, he did something.
Probably. He did something with an animal.
So he
did CAD. He did the
AutoCAD
computer.
So
AutoCAD.
The podcast is called Gluten is Not Your Problem, and we talk about the service industry, food culture, time travel, all kinds of fun stuff. You listened to it. What did you think?
I love it. I think it's great, and yeah, he always makes me laugh though. I don't know, man. We have a weird relationship. It's good though, but yeah, it's always like so fucking funny and interesting and fascinating, and he also infuriates me. Not now, not currently, but he has in the past. But no, he's a very interesting person. He's led a really unique life, so it's really cool to hear his take on things.
And that was why I wanted to do something with him. And so it's a great podcast. It's light, it's easy, it's funny. He's got a very unique look on the world and lived a very unique life. So go check out Gluten Is Not Your Problem on Spotify or
absolutely
Apple Podcasts.
I mean, he pointed out all the kitchen gadgets in your kitchen and told you how they were wrong. And you were like, these aren't even mine, dude. And he's like, see, that apple slicer's bullshit. And I was like, it probably is.
It probably is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Gluten Is Not Your Problem. Green Camel Press. Okay. With that out of the way, Jerry, what are we talking about today?
So today is L, and we had decided that L would be for losing yourself, or the idea of losing yourself, or this concept that once you go into recovery or once you go sober, that you're like, life is a little more boring, and how are you going to deal with the pitfalls of your life and the hard parts of your life without this constant companion of alcohol or this party maker in your pocket, if you know what I mean.
The party maker in your pocket.
In your pocket. Good. Yeah, the Mentos of crashing your car, I guess. But
it's such an identity for some people. I know that it was for me, not just as a bartender, but long before I ever started bartending. And you'll remember this. This is not when we very first met, but when you came back the second time. Yeah. And I didn't realize this, but my identity was, they called it the boys' house. They would always say, you're going to go party at the boys' house. And that was my house. Yeah. And so this was, I think for most of that summer of 1998, it was something that everybody knew. Like if you wanted to go and have fun, if you wanted to just be able to show up with a 12-pack of Henry Weinhardt's or whatever cheap beer, if you wanted to go buy drugs, there was somebody there, if not that lived there, but somebody who would know where to get drugs. There was always marijuana. There was oftentimes cocaine and ecstasy, but there was certainly the ability. There was much harder stuff as well. On occasion.
You guys had a bottle of the wrong kind of ether, and then you were huffing the wrong kind of ether.
It was the wrong kind?
I think so. I still to this day believe you guys. Well, I huffed it too. That we were just huffing a solvent. I don't think it was the same shit that Hunter S. Thompson. I think he was huffing like medical ether, and we were huffing like ether that takes paint off of windowsills.
Ugh, either way.
But we got high, you know, so I guess we got that going for us. Yeah, that goes on our resume.
So it's this huge. So that was when I had just turned 21. So this identity follows you and that. So even it precedes you. It preceded me, and it just became this thing that. For years and years and years. So that at that point would be 16 years before or 17 years before I quit drinking. And I didn't know how to not go to a bar or how to not have a drink after work.
Right.
It was this sort of just quietly hide in my room, or I didn't know who to be. I really didn't know myself. So how long I think that I was creating this persona that everybody knew me as fun time, good time.
Right. Yeah.
You had a
and
nickname,
that even goes Naked John.
Yeah.
But I called the house Planet of the Apes.
That's right.
Right. I called it that for years. I still do. It's never the boy. I was introduced to me as the boys' house, but I was like, that's just Planet of the Apes, dude. Like, yeah, it's all fucking. They blew it up, man. They blew it up.
Or I knew you were quick. You for a little while you were called Fresh Guy Jerry by a few.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Okay. By a couple of people, I probably was. The make out ninja just come in and be like, I'm gonna kiss everybody,
and you know that's
fucking
just
pee my pants or whatever, you know, like.
But that's kind of this persona that you put on, that you kind of plaster on, right? I mean, that wasn't you. I mean, I guess at the time that was part of you, but.
It was more armor. It was like hiding insecurities. The reason I had thought of this subject was we had a friend who's in the process of going through recovery, and and you asked them how that was going, and they were like, well, I'm kind of bored. Like, it's kind of boring. And I really ruminated on that. Like, I thought about that, and I like sat down and I was like, wow, like, because I see the gifts, right? I'm at a point in it now where I'm like, I see a lot of gifts. I see some boredness, but all that urgency is over. I come back to that in the podcast a lot, but I think with this period of time, the urgency is over now. So I'm like, I can sit down and think about the good shit that's coming from it. And I don't feel bored very often, but I always wondered, was I feeling bored in the beginning, or was I just dealing with the trauma of it? Because I always looked at it like breaking my leg, like I had to heal up. There was no, I mean, there was no bored. I don't know if there was bored for me, because I was just like, I had to deal with this fucking bleeding leg, you know, this metaphorical bleeding leg. So did you experience that? Were you like, damn, this time is moving slow?
Yes.
This is boring.
I was absolutely bored. And I think that in those early times, I would watch a lot of television. I mean, I would stay up because I didn't want to go to sleep, or I couldn't sleep, and I felt weird about sleeping, and I was just really anxious and wired, and the nighttime was usually when I was drinking, right?
Yeah.
So even though I worked nights, I would get off work, and if I hadn't already been drinking at work, I would then come straight home or go to the liquor store for a bottle of usually Tito's or Stoli, because it was cheap and it was on sale. But Stoli you could find for like $12.99. I'm like, they're trying to kill me here.
Yeah.
And a six-pack
It's just got your picture on the label.
Yes. So I would come home and I would watch. I remember being really depressed and trying to watch Doogie Howser from the beginning and just anything, because I just wanted I wanted long periods of episodic television where I didn't have to think about what I was doing.
You'd go into the routine of you know what I mean? Get involved in the story and then go through the routine. I was going to say, that, you know, you brought up the Tito's. I was like, that's nighttime was when the Tito's werewolf wanted to howl, dude. The Tito's werewolf came out, you know?
It's so true. And I would spend, instead of spending my nights, and at the very end, in the last like 6 months to a year of drinking, it was always by myself in my room or in the house. You know, it was on the couch smoking so many cigarettes, and just bottles would just roll under the coffee table, and I would leave them there. And then getting sober, you're right, there was a lot of trauma to it. It was shocking, and what do I do? And for me, and I didn't have anybody around at the time. I mean, there was you, but I wasn't dealing with a relationship. I wasn't dealing with a kid. I wasn't dealing with anything. So it was just in my room drinking club soda and watching Netflix or whatever it was. And so there was definitely a lot of boredom. And then thinking all the fun that I was ever going to have was pretty much over, because I didn't know what else to do.
I can absolutely relate to that. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. Is what I'm saying. I'm sorry for that. But I can totally relate to that feeling. That all the fun, it's happening out there right now. It's all happening. Everybody's having all their fun, and I'm here, and I can't go and have fun with them. Like, and it's never going to happen again. I do remember that feeling.
And I could turn it on with a drink. I could go out to the bar. I could go meet friends.
Right.
We could have a couple of drinks. I would buy rounds. Let's do some shots. I got some fun shots. What's in this, John? Don't worry about it. Just drink it. It'll be fun.
Just drink it.
And
it cost me $30. Don't worry.
I could have all this bravado about it, and I could tell jokes, and I could be a little bit crass, and I could crack some jokes on some people, and make people laugh at somebody else's expense, or maybe my own, because I didn't care about anybody's well-being. And
fuck 'em.
Kind of be seriously, I'd be this sort of, I don't know if there's a word for it, but like this jolly asshole that was moderately charming, but was loud and always bought drinks and tipped well, so everyone kind of looked the other way.
Yes,
and
I like jolly asshole. That's a good way to put it.
We've all played that part, right?
Yes, yeah.
So when it became this sort of, I guess I went to sugar immediately after I quit drinking.
Bam, me too.
So that became part of the fun, because there was no fun to be had. So I would watch TV and I would eat lots of sugar, and it would be like those big bags M&Ms, you know the ones?
Yes. Peanut or plain?
Peanut.
Yeah,
I was always
hell
a
yeah.
peanut kind of guy.
So was I. I love the peanut M&Ms.
And ice cream and soda and like any kind of sweets I could get my hands on. And I would even be disappointed in getting cake from Safeway, and I would eat it anyway, even though it was like too much lard and not enough sugar in the icing. And
Right.
so that was sort of my excitement. And you're right, all the excitement was happening out there, and I used to be able to create it. I used to be the center of attention, or at least that's what I thought, whether or not I really was.
Yeah.
And a big one too was that I never thought that I was going to be able to create things and do artwork. And we talk about that in
I remember that
the
conversation with you. Yeah.
The inspiration episode. So it was all gone, and I felt really sad. I think there was a lot of depression and a lot of real just sadness about that, and thinking
loss
very, very much. So yeah, losing yourself and that level of loss of all that fun. And but it's kind of like when you hurt yourself and you don't remember the pain, your body or your brain, tries to guard you from that. So you don't remember.
It shakes it off, yeah.
So, when you said to me, make sure you tattoo that last bender on your brain and don't forget about how much pain it put you in. And so you're thinking about all the good times and all the fun times and all the party people and all of the low lights and the candles and the cocktails.
I was going to say, yeah. The neon and the smoke and the promise. The promise, man. That's how I always chase the promise of something. Something new, something exciting, something different, something monumental. There was always a promise.
This huge, exciting thing that was going to happen at the bar.
Such bullshit, though, It's like, yeah, it's such bullshit.
But I couldn't read anymore. Well, I hadn't been reading in a very long time. I mean, that was something that I gave up years ago because I just was too drunk and didn't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know if you still read while you were drinking heavily near the... No, right? And
I quit. I couldn't even paint by the end. I couldn't even paint, and that was my jam, right? If I would sit in the garage I had a refrigerator in my garage in Tucson. I'd sit in there with a 12-pack of Coke in there and a fifth and an ice maker, and I would just drink and paint and get super fucked up. And when I was up here in Oregon working at the tattoo shop in the beginning, doing the guest spot, I tried to paint a few times in that garage. I would even build frames and buy the wood and everything, and I would just get so fucking housed. I'd get so fucking drunk I just couldn't focus. Like I would paint with like a hand over my eye sometimes because I'd get double vision. So then I would just go and fucking meander off, I mean, it's the idea though of it being boring because it has this promise of excitement or because there's nothing happening. And like, I just thought like, well, life is fucking boring sometimes. Like it just is. You can't put a thing into it. Sometimes it's just mundane. The dishes have to be done.
Yeah.
The fucking plants have to be watered.
Yeah.
The laundry's got to get done. That's just mundane shit. It's just what you do.
I've gotten better with the laundry. It just
podcasts have helped out a lot, actually.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. That didn't exist a while ago. There's nothing to be done. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes things are mundane. And what is it? There was a Bukowski quote, and he says, "Why do people drink?" Or they drink to make because they drink to celebrate. They drink to mourn. Or they drink to just make things happen. And so I think the third one was a lot of why I would drink. I would go out to make things happen. I mean, I would go by myself and I would go and talk to strangers and I would go and ask them where they were from and what's going on. And I would interrupt couples' dates and I didn't care. I thought I was hilarious.
Right. They're having a good time connected. You walk over just and they're like, did fucking John Candy with a beard just walk up here and like tip over our drinks and then buy us new drinks? And
I mean, couldn't we just be left alone?
You talk about the part where you go out, you get social, you're with all your friends, you have all this action going on, you have your big group of friends, you always go to your same 3 bars, you're always in every picture with your drinks and hanging out, doing all your shit, and you're being super social, and then at the end of the night they fucking leave and you're still there. And if you're not still there in the bar, then you're still there at home with a bottle or with a fucking beer. Like you're still, do you know what I mean? They split ways. They either go off in their own little compartments and drink in their little places, or they go to bed because they got to go to work, and you're still punching in. Like you're just still fucking and you're alone now. You're all fucking alone, and not only you're alone, but you're bored and drunk. And what shit are you making happen? You're just
Nothing.
really
Absolutely
listening
nothing.
to like Steely Dan over and over again in your underpants, just which you can do now, but at least now you can fucking dance with some coordination, you know, and like be like, I'm not gonna feel like shit tomorrow, like
Or contemplating
gonna
who I
call the
was gonna
cops.
call at 3 in
call.
the morning.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's funny because when you still call me, your picture comes up and it's a picture of you drunk.
Oh wow, you have to send
Yeah,
me
it's
that.
a picture
I'm
you
curious.
took of yourself, like with your. I'll send it to you. I won't even describe it here. But it's a picture you had sent me really drunk, and I had made it your. Before I got sober, I made it your like your icon or whatever. And even now, when you call, it's like this fucking picture of you all fucked up, and I'm like, I should probably change that, but I don't think I will though.
I'd love to see it. I think yours is a.
Yeah.
It's just the back of like a garage jacket for Dick's Burgers or something. I don't
Oh,
know if you
yeah.
still have that jacket, but
Dad, I did have a Dick's jacket, didn't
yeah,
I? I
for
don't
a
know where
minute.
that fucking thing went. Yeah.
Dick's was a great burger place in Seattle, by the way, for those of you listening in Ireland or Spain. Or
Was it though? Was it? I mean, it was pretty good.
it was
but-
iconic.
Iconic. Let's use that word. We're not talking. Yeah, if you're in Europe, it wasn't like a good old front la Marange or wherever you guys are eating at that make the hamburgers. That was a weird European word I just made
It was
up.
very
Front la
vaguely-
Marange.
Vaguely European.
Might have been German or French. I don't know. It's American food.
But there was
So
a
it's
lot of
aight.
there was so all of that. Yeah, so you're alone in your room, drunk, dizzy if you haven't passed out already, contemplating your next move, which usually
Right.
just would mean I would
Yeah.
get to the point where I would just take the whole 6-pack back to my bed because I wasn't going to go up and back and forth to the fridge,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I'm really reticent to say though that it was all misery. Like I know
No.
that, you know, in the past we've talked to shared friends who are like, God, you make it sound like it was all complete entire fucking misery and hell the whole time. And we talked about this in Portland too. And we've mentioned it in other previous podcasts, but like something led up to that point, you know.
Yes.
There was good times that led up to that point, you know. It wasn't like, cuz I know I've been in the rooms and I've heard people share it and they were like, it was shit from day one. And it was shit the entire time. And that's not, I can't relate to that story because it didn't start off as shit. Maybe I had shit in my heart, and that's wrong. Maybe I had shit in my soul. Like I had like a sadness in me, like this hard part of me. But a lot of those experiences were so fucking positive at that period of time that I continued, because it's not like I had that first drink and was immediately physically and emotionally addicted. Like I worked my way up to it.
Yeah,
you know,
me too.
you know, I kindled up, you know, like.
I feel
So
like
I really want to be like really clear that, you know,
Yeah, there was
our
some
experience isn't, that our experience wasn't total hell in the beginning.
No.
By the end, it was like our own versions of hell,
Yes.
you know, but
there was I'll put it to you this way, that there was a lot of fun that was happening while there were unresolved or issues that went unresolved for many years in my youth.
yeah, they got infected.
They got in.
You know what I'm saying? They got
Yes.
infected. Like they just got worse, you know?
You just
Yeah.
kept picking at it and picking at it and picking at it,
Right.
and you know, you anesthetize it for so long, and you don't really have to deal with it, and you kind of wrap it up, and then eventually the anesthesiology doesn't work. The
Right.
bandages don't cover the bleeding anymore and the pus, and then you're just left with this abscess,
Yeah.
and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
But
you
there
got
was
gangrene. You
there
get the
was
gang-
fun. There was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of good memories and a lot of joy, and it ran its course, right? It just ran its
Yeah.
course. So now I'm in
It
this
ran its course, yeah.
I'm in this next phase of development, this next phase of my life, whether I choose to develop or not.
Right.
But
This is just that new shit. Because honestly, I think about it now too, and like the idea of losing my identity or things not being fun anymore, being exciting. I'm like, I have so many other things now that I'm dealing with that are exciting and are fun and fulfilling, a deep kind of fulfillment, not this a superficial surface of fulfillment, you know. It's not like an instant gratification now. It's like this deep kind of good for me as a person, learning lessons and then applying those lessons so I feel better, like a sincere feeling better, not just a quick hit of like a bump of feeling good and that's it, you know. And then there's a come down. You're sitting there singing some dude acoustic guitar. Remember when that African dude made us that when we
were
he
so
made dinner. It was
high.
like scrambled eggs
Yes.
and bread and pickles.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking of, right? That's that quick bump of instant gratification, and we're on the floor like we ain't gonna eat, like.
Mm-hmm. His
Yeah.
name was, I think his name was Eddie, and we went back to somebody's house,
Yeah.
and he was hanging around, and I think he borrowed some money from Joe Z, and once he borrowed the money, he disappeared. But that night, we had gotten the biggest, like, most beautiful, at the time, this cocaine that I'd never done anything so, it was just super intense, but we were all singing.
Right.
We were all, like, sitting around this house, and he starts making these eggs, and he puts pickles in it, and he calls me over, and he's like talking to me. He's like, "Hey man, you guys want?" And I'm like, "I know it's 6 a.m, but everybody is so high. Like nobody wants your pickles.
Nobody's gonna. Yeah,
and
I'm
eggs."
chewing on a Solo cup. That's my breakfast. I'm literally
Right?
chewing on a Solo cup because I'm so geetered out.
And but that was and I'm not sure where we were going with this particular.
That was something. That was that bump, that superficial bump.
Yes.
It's almost like you miss out on this thing. Now,
You know what else I
pickled eggs
remember
would have
is
been
the next
gross
day.
as fuck, but
Oh.
yeah, wow, yeah, so do I. Yeah,
and a lot of those next days
yeah,
of just feeling like not being able to hold a Heineken bottle the next day at the Viking. Having to get really close to the table to have that shot of Rumpelmints to calm my nerves and my head feeling dried out.
Just I can't even imagine you just walking pile of dirty laundry down to the Viking, just like
Right down the road.
yeah, but it's I guess my point was like, yeah, it was just this thing that seemed so big but was actually superficial. But it seemed so monumentous, like this huge experience. But if we had zoomed out and looked at it from a different perspective, it was just a bunch of fucked up people sitting on the floor, like making noise.
I would have called the cops and said it's too late and
Word.
I'm trying to get
yes,
some sleep.
exactly. If I had to get Olive up for school the next day, I'd be like, they're all coked out over there singing a song, and there's like a dude from Kenya like making eggs and he's burning them, and
Exactly. So there's it's superficial fun, at least, and not that I didn't make good friends and we didn't have some good times, but there was a lot of that superficial fun that was not, like you said, fulfilling.
It doesn't have that deeper fulfillment. Like I really feel like I'm living an actual life now instead of just pretending to live a life while I'm, you know what I mean, trying to hide all the hurt shit inside of me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not on stage doing Streetcar. You know what I mean? I'm like living. I'm like out here in the world living. I'm not living Streetcar because that shit was a mess. But like I'm not play acting anymore. I am who I'm actually am. Like I feel fulfilled, man.
Yeah.
And if anything, that's better than what I had previously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would talk to somebody who's doing 30 or 60 or in the first 90 days is not to worry about it so much.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that's the biggest thing is that, okay, it might be boring and it might seem like there's some fun that you are missing out on, but it's always going to be there. I think about that too. Like, it's out there right now. If I wanted to go find it, I mean, I probably would be pretty disappointed.
Yeah, because we would be like dudes in their 40s, like sitting in a bar with I just was in one of my regular bars just this weekend that I used to go to because we went out for a friend's birthday. It's just telling you before we recorded. We went out dancing. And I stood at this regular bar of mine that I used to go to all the fucking time, and they're all kids. Everything else in the bar is exactly the same. The art on the walls was horrible, like it always has been. Do you know what I mean? Like, the decor is the same. It still smells like barf. It still smells like cigarettes a little bit. But all the kids, they're all kids. It was all different. These are all people drinking in the bar now who were fucking born when I had my first drink. Do you know what I'm saying? Like...
Yeah.
They weren't even born yet when I had my first drink. They were born like when I first moved to Eugene, like in the 95. I had already started my career at that point. And now I see their little fresh faces full of longing and hope and sadness and all that shit. And I'm just like, my wife's like, you feel weird? And I'm like, nah, man, I guess I do because it's a lot of ghosts now at this point. Like I remember sitting there with these dudes and remember doing this over here, but it's just, can you imagine me out there now? Like some 44-year-old dude with gray hair, like with my fucking Paul Mitchell ponytail, just walking around like, what's up, ladies? Smoking a cigarette out there, drawing. Like, I wouldn't be like the cool older guy. I'd be like that sad fucking dude. They're like, look, there's that sad fucking dude.
They won't leave us alone.
That won't leave us alone or just is just you know what I mean, all alone. Usually all alone, but yeah. There's nothing out there for me, man. It's all gone. I don't need it.
No.
You guys take the mantle. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck. Don't run into my car, please. You know.
I would say those first few months, those first like 3 or 4 months, you know, you're tending to wounds.
It's triage. It's absolute triage. You used that word last week, and I loved it. It's triage, dude. You got to take care of what needs to be taken care of first.
Find something, things that you used to love, and try and get back into them if you're feeling bored. If there are books that you've always wanted to read, or things that you've always wanted to try, but don't be so hard on yourself. This is a really hard one for me to, and I'm only now 3.5 years into it at 42, not being so hard on myself. I used to get, even in sobriety, I would think, it's already 2:30 in the afternoon. I've already fucking wasted the day, and I haven't done anything that I wanted to do. And I would be so angry at myself over the fact, you know, like, just we didn't do something, or I didn't create something, or I didn't put some value into my day that I was hoping to do, and everything is shot. And it's like, well, it's only 2:30. There's still plenty of time. So I would just say that it's important to be easy on yourself, and to
absolutely,
don't worry about if your eating habits change, if you're eating a lot more sugar than you used to. It's okay. It's really,
all right.
I say this from personal experience, because I would hate myself for it, and I look back now, even just recently, and I go, okay, so I had to do that because I had to get there. So there's all these little, I don't want to call them rock bottoms, but we have to go and sort of investigate these things. For at least for me, I had to investigate it for myself. I needed to see how many pints of ice cream I could eat in a night. I needed to see
just crush in a night
how much vodka I could drink in a night. I had to see how much homemade absinthe I could drink in a night. I had to, I had to see how many times I could, drink and drive before I got pulled over. I had to go see these things. I'm better at learning from other people's experience these days than I ever was before. But even recently, I had to find out for myself.
That's a really valid point. One of the tips, I guess, if we're giving out tips or suggestions, is like to connect with other people who have been through what you're going through or are going through what you're going through. And I don't mean go to like an AA meeting. Just find somewhere to connect. Even if it's online, anything, or some of the other meetings, or just anywhere you can find people in recovery to connect with them, because that relatability I found personally really, really, really helpful, because I didn't feel so isolated. And now, if you see me out there in the recovery community out here in Eugene, Oregon, like I still keep to myself. Like I don't share a lot. I don't talk a lot. I kind of just observe, and if I feel the need to share, I will, but typically I'm really quiet in the back. But just being around that atmosphere, just being around those people and knowing I can see this guy did it and that guy did it, and I take from each one of them, every time they say something, I'll take a little bit out and use that as a tool. Go, oh, that's a technique they use, or that's a philosophy they're using. That was super fucking valuable to me in those early days. It still is. I'm not as consistent as I have been in the past, but it's still, every time I go, I get something.
There's also, regardless of whatever program you're using,
exactly.
There are a lot of, just because Jerry and I both are not interested in promoting anything here, because
not at all. Yeah, that's why I'd only mentioned the name because I know that's the big one that comes up every time people go into recovery. That's the first thing you hear, and that's the first thing I would say when I was drunk. I guess I gotta go to fucking AA now.
There's a lot of resources.
Absolutely, and we don't promote anything. We actually only promote you trying to make yourself better. Listener, former party person.
Former party person. I love that.
We only promote you trying to make your life better, because if your life is better and you're working on yourself, then man, what the fuck?
Everyone else around you is gonna be better, and then
they're gonna love you.
They'll love you more, and you'll love them.
Eventually,
eventually
they'll love you.
So I would say, if you need to stock up on Klondike bars like I did, then do that.
Word. Or buy video games like I did.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. So early in recovery, and not everybody's a gamer, but a lot of people are. There's a lot of gamers. I mean, Twitch doesn't exist for nothing.
There's a ton of us.
But
Yeah.
what was the game that helped you through?
It was a bunch
early
of them, but
sobriety?
it was my brother-in-law had a PS3, and so I played. Or no, he got one of the first PS4s. He won it in a Taco Bell contest. Peep this shit. We got super fucking drunk because I was still drinking right at this point. I got super fucking drunk, and I was like, "Yo, let's go to Taco Bell. Can someone go to Taco Bell?" And they're like, "You keep your drunk ass here. You're not going anywhere. You fucking embarrassment. Give us your money." And so I was like, "Give me one of those $5 boxes."
You were going to be
right?
embarrassed at you were going to embarrass them at Taco
Yes,
Bell.
that's how bad I was. I was going to probably get out of the car or cry or something. So I gave him my $5 for the $5 box. They go out and buy these $5 boxes. There's a free promotion in the $5 box. If you peel this thing off, you win a free PS4. Before they came out, you got it like 2 weeks before it came out. So I get shit faced. I don't peel the promotion. I throw it in the trash. My sister wakes up the next day, opens up the trash, just peels the promotion off and scans the code with her phone, and she won the PS4 off of my box, right? So she's like, "Well, this is mine because you're a fucking drunk idiot. Even though you paid for it, you're a drunk idiot, and this is mine, and you live in my house, so this is mine." And then they were like, "Well, then we had this big argument because our friend went and got it. So whose was it? Was it mine for paying for it? Was it my friend who went and got it because he went and brought it back? Or was it my sister who took the initiative to take it out of the trash?" So this PS4 comes. I get sober like about 5 or 6 months later, and I start playing The Last of Us
Yes.
and Far Cry 3. And I just play the shit out of both those games, and I get really involved in the story of The Last of Us, and I cry my ass off to a video game because I'm like whacked out on fucking being sober.
Last of Us is pretty beautiful.
It's a gorgeous game, right? And the story's beautiful. I have a daughter, so I related really hard. And my wife and daughter at that time went back to Arizona for a brief period. They went back because they had to gather all of our things and pack everything up to move up here, So early sobriety, man, I had been like a month sober, and she left me alone for like 4 months. It was pretty fucking crazy. And I had every opportunity in the world to drink, but I was like done. I knew that if I started up, all this shit would start. So anyway, Last of Us, Far Cry 3, and GTA 5 helped me get sober, and lots of fucking root beer and lots of Dr. Pepper. Lots of it.
Cases
and
of
candy
soda.
bars.
Yeah.
Oh, rock stars. Oh my God, I drank rock. I would drink 2 of those big fucking 250 milligrams of caffeine rock stars every day, and cigarettes. And I was banging out 500 milligrams of caffeine every day. That's like enough to kill your ass almost,
That's a lot. What's in a regular cup of coffee?
Like 80?
Yeah. Wow.
80 to 100 maybe, depending on how strong the coffee is.
That being said,
yeah.
if coffee and cigarettes are your jam, don't try
Smoke
giving
them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, and you can, I'll ask you, I'll talk to you, Jerry, that coffee and cigarettes or caffeine and cigarettes are fine. They were fine for you. I mean, alcohol was the most destructive substance in your life.
First things first, right?
Right.
Like easy does it. First things first.
So
Those
you
are the
remove
sayings.
the most destructive substance first.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I always look at the analogy like I have a bear trap on my leg, and I'm like maybe laying in an anthill. Like which one goes first? Like which one's gonna kill me? Probably the bear trap. You know what I mean? So let's do that first. Yeah, exactly. Instead of just trying all at once to do it all at once, because I think you just set yourself up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're fucking jonesing for 2 fucking things at the same time. Like
something's gonna crack, right?
Fuck that, dude. Yeah, I ain't no Superman. You guys who do that, you people out there who do that and accomplish it, like you get nothing but love from me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am just amazed by that. Yeah, I'm amazed anybody who quits drinking. I still am amazed by it.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you do it? I know how I did it. How'd you do it? That just blows me. I still see it and it like chokes my ass up, dude. I'm like, look at you with fucking 48 hours, dude. Yeah. You're getting so fucked right now. How are you doing? Like, do you need a hug? You need a ride?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on? Yeah.
I think a lot of people exercise.
Crazy shit.
I was not one of those
exercise, yeah. Yeah. Let's get that train back on the tracks there. Sorry. Exercising, absolutely. No, I was not one either.
I will say go easy. I would suggest anybody go easy on themselves with their caloric intake and their sugar. I would eat salami straight out of the bag in bed.
Right. That's all right though. That's a dream date right there.
Yeah, right. Is that
sweating out vodka and eating fucking salami? Nice.
Watching Doogie Howser. God. Anyhow, I'm just saying is that you go in those early times. Don't worry about everything else. The most important thing is that I was I quit drinking.
Right. Don't even stress losing yourself. Let's loop it back into that, right? Like if you're afraid that you're going to lose who you are, maybe you should lose who you are. Maybe who you are is not that great or not working. Let's rephrase that. Maybe who you are is not working.
Those
so
behaviors.
Maybe you need to realize like what you are, you know, or maybe, I don't know. Those behaviors aren't working. And if that's part of your personality, maybe it's time to get rid of that part of your personality.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you're not drinking, because that part of your personality is really fucking hard to deal with.
I got rid of a lot of parts of my personality, and we hung out last weekend, and you know, you said something. You made some joke about we were in the karaoke room, and the woman came in to sell us another hour or whatever, and I looked at her. She popped in. I was like, "Oh, you're just in time." And
yeah, and that was old John. I loved it. So that was my old John.
That was part of the old John that was still there. So that was a good part of the personality that I hadn't.
Yes.
You
know,
know,
like weird, playful, fucking with people in social situations. I love it. It always made me laugh. It still does.
Old John would have knocked
just
over
in time. Yeah.
Would have knocked over the water and I don't know.
Yeah.
Tried to, I don't know, but getting rid of those certain personality traits and certain things that didn't service me anymore. And what do you think about the idea of like recovery is the concept of recovering yourself before you started drinking, recovering that person?
I think that's a really good way of looking at it. I've never looked at it like that, to be honest with you. That's a really interesting concept.
Because one of the things that I have been told and that I've come to believe is that when you start drinking, that's when the arrested development starts. So when you come out of this fog, when I come out of this fog at 38 and I had started drinking at, I don't know,
like
very
15,
16? Yeah, probably 16
Same
or
here
17.
about,
that I am mentally about 17 years old in the way that I look at the world, in the way that I manage my money, in the way that I relate to people.
Well, now you're about 20. You're about 20 now,
I think
right?
exponentially it gets better as years of sobriety have gone on for me. But that I love that idea of recovering the person that I was, and that
that's
potential
really cool.
that I still can have.
Yeah.
I look at that as well as something that, what did I actually lose? What am I getting rid of? Did I lose it? And was it not better that I lost certain things and that I who I am now, rather than being so concerned about the identity around that the bartenders who loved me or more so loved my money don't see me on a regular basis.
Right. They'll be all right. There's just another one of you who's gonna take your place. Yeah, there's always a drunk, man. Yeah. I like that concept a lot. I never considered it like that. I always looked at it like, you know, a broken leg. You're recovering from a broken appendage or a broken heart or a broken soul or whatever it is inside you that's needs that help, you know. But I like the way that idea of recovering who you were before.
I think that might be Russell Brand. I don't know, but
thanks, Russell.
I just want to make sure I give credit where credit's due before anybody starts quoting me, and then I don't want to hear it from him. He's very
all of our 20 listeners.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was looking
all of our listener.
Yeah. I was serious about the listeners in Spain, and I think there was.
I know.
We had a spike in Dublin, so I just want to say to anybody who's listening outside of the United States, and we would love to hear from you as well.
We're curious, especially in European cultures. It's very different, obviously.
Yes.
But you know what I mean? Even the approach of alcohol may be similar and different at the same time. You know, I mean, what a trip.
So identity is a big thing, and I can only say take it easy. And I can't believe that now I get excited about things like, oh, I'm going to go do this. I'm working on this project. Or you said you talk about painting now, where you are far more engrossed in it, or can just get
when
in
I
there.
do. I've taken a hiatus at this point, in all transparency, but I'll be back in it this summer. I promise.
You're still,
but it's more of a fulfilling thing. Yeah.
You still do a lot of stuff on the iPad. You do a lot of digital stuff.
Digitally, yeah. Yeah, I need to get painting my hair though soon. But I do. But it's the process is much different. I'm more considerate of the process. You know, I'm more considerate of what I'm trying to get out of myself. But yeah, I think the idea of identity, alcohol, drinking alcoholically, and your identity, it's very interesting. It's how it intertwines. It's like the roots of it get into who you are as a person, and you start identifying as that instead of what you really are.
Mm-hmm. I did. I was all about.
Yeah, we've been there, done that. I mean, I was bored. Yeah, but life is boring sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It'll pass.
The idea of losing your identity is I feel like it's just another question, right? Because I'm still me. So who am I now? Well, that's a question you have to find out, and I can't just go, well, I don't know who I am. Well, okay, that's fine for today. Let's think about who you are, John. Let's who do you want to be?
Right.
Like I now have there's promises of good things, right?
Right.
I mean, in your life, in my life.
Yeah. I mean, I can see them. I can see them happening, but they happen slow. That's the other point too, is like, this all takes time. You didn't just have one drink and automatically poof, you're a fucking alcoholic. You know what I mean? It took time for you to get to where you're at.
It did.
It will take time for you to get to where you need to be. It just takes time. Even for you to say, man, who do I want to be, or who am I? Like, it takes time to fully realize that. And then by the time you fully realize it, you're probably completely different than what you think you actually are. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we are in the constant process of changing. We're in this constant metamorphosis, So,
yeah.
I ask myself all the time, like, what are your motivations? What are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why do you do these? Why do you talk to people like this, And I don't have any answers for myself yet.
Not yet.
That's all right. No. I mean, I have some. Sometimes, like, God, you're a dick.
And identity is a funny thing, because the people.
Yeah.
I mean, we do our best to be genuine here, but there's a certain level of like podcast identity versus.
Yeah. I hold some shit back on this podcast because it's not pertinent to what the to what the subjects we're discussing are.
And the thing that I do, I like myself these days. I didn't like myself the last many years of drinking.
Right. Like, you can look at yourself in a mirror now, right?
Yes, I can.
Did you ever hit that period of time during your drinking where you couldn't even look at yourself in a mirror? Because I did, and it sounds like a trope and it sounds like a cliche, but I could not look at myself in the mirror without being like, fuck you. I fucking hate you. I hope you die. I would do it every fucking day, dude.
I wouldn't say those words. Mine were more.
I would out loud.
I would hope for death, for sure. Yeah. But I would look myself in the face, and I'd usually be really exhausted and very, very pale, on the verge of green sometimes, with big dark circles under my eyes, and I'd have to get ready for work after I'd wake up at 8 a.m. but didn't have to work until 4. And either I would have a couple of beers and go back to sleep, or I would just like not be able to sleep anymore because I had so much alcohol in my system, and I get cleaned up and trying to get ready for work, and they'd be like, well, this is as good as it gets. And
wow,
I would say that with a big sigh.
Oh yeah, dude, that's funny.
And I would just be like,
this is the best it's ever gonna get. That's what I'd tell myself. That's what I would say to myself in those low points. Yeah, wow, that's so funny. Look at us, fucking. So we're on a similar path there. When you described yourself, I pictured Beetlejuice. By the way, like looking in the mirror, you just look like Beetlejuice. Like
I brush my teeth more often than that, but yeah.
Yeah, but just the skin color, maybe the hair blown back a little bit.
It was,
It's like
a little further in between haircuts for sure.
Yeah, little Zagnut bar action.
But
there,
I'm finding that I love who I am. I love who I am. I love myself. Yeah. I love who I'm becoming. I get excited about it. I start to think about. I start doing shit like planning out. I've got a lot going on, so I got to plan out this week.
Crazy.
That's crazy. I gotta plan out the month. I got this thing near the end of the
month.
month.
You're an insane person. That's awesome.
When did that happen?
I don't know. You're surprising me now. Actually, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. I am and not. Like at the same time.
I just
look at you. Yeah.
I just, I'm watching YouTube videos on calendar blocking, time blocking in your day, and thinking
You're
about.
You're fucking killing it, dude. You're gonna kill it. You're out there. Just.
I'm like, okay, you got between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. You got to drink your coffee, read your book, write in your notebook. Then it's like off to the gym, and then I got these things I got to do tomorrow, Jerry. I got all this stuff, and if I don't write it down, I'm not gonna do it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna lay in bed.
What? But do you feel stressed about all these things you have to do, or you
I don't
like
feel
look forward to
stressed.
them?
No, I
Is
look
it like
forward to
this,
it.
the
Yeah.
routine, right? You're like, this is what makes my day good. This is what makes me feel fulfilled during the day.
Yes.
Yes, we are success stories, ladies and gentlemen.
It's true. It's I am my own success story, you know.
I
And if
say it with that weird disassociated Gen X sarcasm. You know, like
you were the success story that partially was responsible for me at least having support in getting sober.
oh stop, oh stop.
You know,
You know, it always surprises me to hear like when you say that, or I've heard someone else, a couple other people say that, and it always does surprise me, and it's never a false modesty. It's just like, wow, really? Because I felt like I was doing garbage job. I was doing a garbage job and just kind of walking around with my shit attitude, my hunchback for so long, you know, like.
but you still did it regardless of your hunched attitude and shit back or shit
I got a
attitude.
back
and
brace now.
And, yeah,
But I wear a back corrector now. I'm doing great.
but yeah. So I mean, even though you were still doing it, and so
Yes.
and
yeah.
part of me was like, would think, well, aside from myself, Jerry was the drunkest person I knew.
Right.
You know,
You're not
seriously.
the first to say that. That's so funny.
And so I thought, if he can do it, I can do it, because there were often nights where I would stay up later than you, and I'd be drinking and drinking and drinking, and you would finally pass out at 3:30.
Yeah.
And I would think, oh, well, there's got to be more to this night. There was no more. The night had ended.
No more. We had
hours
squeezed
ago.
that lemon dry, dude. We were sucking on the seeds of that lemon. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't have as many problems with my identity now than I did.
Yeah, neither do
when
I.
I was drinking.
I feel like it's just takes time, and it turns into something else, or you turn into what you were before, or it's just constant metamorphosis.
You get to and early in recovery, you get to create it. You get to pick it. You get to say, I'm going to do this, because this metamorphosis, and you can wake up. You can wake up as a cockroach. You can wake up as a butterfly. You can wake up as whatever you want. And that's the Franz Kafka.
Kafka reference
Just
there.
make sure,
Yeah.
you know, I was going to say Franz Ferdinand, but that's a different reference.
No, that was that was the guy who, the Archduke, who got shot, started World War I.
And that band.
And a pretty good dance band that sounded like Gang of Four. Yeah, I love Gang of Four and Franz Ferdinand. Anyway,
so just that idea of, you know, I get to like myself these days, and I get to create who I want to be. And if I don't care for some part of me, then I feel like now I have the tools to make those changes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know all the tools in the beginning, but I was infinitely better off being sober than I was being drunk, even if I felt like shit and ate like shit and, you know, didn't do for myself as best as I could. I would only say to myself now that take it easy. Just take it easy on yourself.
Yeah.
There's no reason to beat yourself up, man. You are
just write down a Post-it note and stick it to your mirror.
Mm-hmm. You were wrestling a demon.
Yeah, a bear pig demon.
You are, and it is a Royal Rumble.
I'm joking around, but no, it is a motherfucker. Yeah, and it's still, you get tired, but you just still gotta fucking push it back down. You'll get tired. I get tired, but then I have renewed energy, and I'm like, fuck this demon.
Yeah.
Fuck him. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I feel okay. I'm sitting here on a podcast. I always have to bring that up at least one time every podcast. We're doing a podcast, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, all those things are pretty damn amazing. And I feel like if you're out there and you're like, oh, I'm going to go through recovery podcasts. Oh, what are these guys talking about? Losing yourself, your identity, you know, like, you'll be all right. It takes time. It will get boring, but it will also be very exciting at times and really fucking scary a lot of the time. But it all evens out.
I would say instead of focusing on what you're losing, think about what you can find and what you can gain.
Yeah, and what you can learn,
You
man.
can learn.
Woo!
Find yourself.
That's my. Yeah.
Gain yourself.
Learn.
Let's.
That's it. Learn.
Learn.
You fucking learn. You better fucking learn.
So
learn. You sound like my mom. Learn. You just learned, didn't you, Jerry? You'll learn now.
It's hard and it's worth it, and I think that's a good place to end it.
I think so. Find yourself. I'm biting your line for the last line in the podcast.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.